Howdy lads, MBs and lasses. We gotta talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call the commission to order, so please take your seats, make yourselves comfortable.
The June HOA meeting essentially culminated in 2 hours of just a couple people speaking, despite this quote-unquote call to action that all of you received via Town Square, an official HOA communication platform. This communique went out hours before the meeting without 4 of the board members being informed or asked to be prepared to talk to it, apparent to those who attended. To those who showed up and didn't get a chance to speak, I am immensely sorry. And for those who got to witness how our president, Vanessa conducts our meetings, I hope it was eye-opening. Everyone else on the board are truly great volunteers that are dedicated to serving this community. I am embarrassed at what happened and hope that you haven't lost any faith in me, Vinny, Jose, or Tony. We have been in the process of addressing this for months. I would direct you all to one of the items on the agenda that was supposed to take place at this meeting. And hopefully over the course of this video, you will be able to put together some ideas on why this notice and meeting went the way it did.
The clock is running!
Something that was brought up that I need to address right away, in the event you are new to the channel, is that this is indeed a personal YouTube channel. I've been covering the meetings for a couple of years now while I was just a homeowner. And now as a member of the board, I continue to do so. Day oneers and anyone who has seen more than a couple of these updates probably already know this, but this coverage is biased in my worldview. I hope that it is clear that this is not an official HOA channel. It never was. This is just a service that is demonetized that I happily perform for the community. My worldview is never hidden and always mentioned in my videos. But if there was any confusion, I wanted to clear that up before we start.
He just admitted he's biased.
This channel was started to provide transparency and analysis on the HOA meetings that folks may not be able to attend, or if they do attend, aren't entirely sure of what's going on. I know when I started going in 2017, I was pretty lost.
My goodness, what is going on?
I served on the board for 4 years and was off for 1, then re-elected in 2022. This video won't be the normal HOA agenda update because sadly, the board didn't conclude any except for ratifying last month's minutes. Instead, I will be going over some points that were brought up by a couple of homeowners and the president, and will implore you to come to your own conclusions. We will talk about the Code of Ethics, my online behavior, and the St. Mary Greenwall project again.
Oh no, not this again, no.
The video at the end of this one goes into much more detail on the Greenwall, and if you don't already, I recommend watching at a 1.5 or 2x speed to cut down the time to get through it. We have been having a couple of homeowners that have been showing up and complaining about my online behavior. This started after the Greenwall project broke ground. The video I posted recapping what had happened, including my thoughts, for 3 months on this personal channel has shed some light where some didn't want any. Something I have to impress is that all of my responses have been reactive. I believed it best the board handled the strife it was in and continues to go through within itself and not drag the community into it. Those on Nextdoor have probably seen these posts about the HOA and about myself from our community novelist, Valerie. The first one going up in February. Feel free to pause and read these.
Drama!
You should note, my full response to them was posted in March. Fortunately, when these started, the leads would take them down on Nextdoor. Sadly, that has changed, and they've allowed them to stay up and let them increase in number, much to the frustration of the community. This was despite folks reporting them for inaccurate information. Keep in mind, in the beginning of this year, these long-winded, incoherent posts were correctly taken down before I could screenshot them, so there were more than what you have seen. I want you to take note of the talking points stated on them. Due to those claims, I put together a response video with clips, screenshots of emails and timelines, and other data to share important details that were missing in these false drama-baiting posts. However, Despite these, we, the board, were inundated with emails, certified letters, and the homeowner forums devolved into the talking points that you have read on those posts. Keep in mind, this was a very small group of homeowners that were coming to these meetings to specifically bring them up.
For a code of conduct.
The code of ethics.
Code of ethics.
This code of ethics.
A code of ethics.
Code of ethics.
Where have I heard that before?
As you have just heard, something that has come up from the few homeowners that have focused on the content of this channel is that it is too much he said, she said. I have taken that seriously, and I have added the she said audio so that way it comes straight from the source. On the point of the code of ethics, this was created by Vanessa. Goodwin and the attorney were there, but she was the one who put together the COE, Code of Ethics. Please pause and read it. It's important to know that the other 4 board members were not included in its creation or its content, despite the claim. That would be me, Jose, Vinny, and Valerie.
And I, for record keeping, because I heard you say I did the code of conduct and code of ethics, and I've heard it again that someone said I did it. I did not do it.
I just got a couple questions. In regards to the Code of Ethics agreement, was there any other board members involved in that? Or was it just you and the attorney?
We all were involved in it. Well, you get to ask your question. You get to ask your question.
Were any of you guys involved in creating the Code of Ethics? That's a no from Jose, no from Vinny. I was not included in the Code of Ethics.
Did not vote on it?
I asked if anyone was involved in creating it.
The lawyer.
Okay, you and the lawyer.
It wasn't me only, and the lawyer.
Who else was included? Ian?
Mm-hmm.
So good one.
Jose, I don't know.
So no other board members. No other board members.
Well, which is it?
It was presented to the board by Vanessa and the attorney, and we agreed that we would sign it in order to secure representation by the attorney.
But the terms were, the advice from the attorney was, if in fact he would give them until Friday of the next week to sign the contract. If they did not sign the contract, he recommended them resigning from the board. Okay, Jose is with me. Okay, that was one term. The other term was that and also if all of the board members did not sign the contract as is, he would no longer represent the board.
It was sent to us on February 26, 2024. And after review with my attorney, we redlined some vague points that I will let you conclude their implications for this channel. I signed it and got it to the attorney at the beginning of March. Recall I, nor the rest of the board, had anything to do with the crafting of the Code of Ethics, so that was not any design of mine to remove Valerie from the board. How is that me getting her off the board?
I'm not saying that.
That's you.
No. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying it was you that got her off. Next is Vanessa. You know, I get rid of Valerie. He's even said it on his next door post. He says, I got rid of one board member, next is the president.
On February 26th, after the Code of Ethics meeting, Secretary Valerie resigned from the board. Now, a point that the president made at the last couple of meetings regarding my Code of Ethics.
And our lawyer didn't advise us that Anthony could redline things so he could be on his YouTube channel.
Sorry, what was that?
I would note to date, the attorney has been representing us without any correspondence to me that my Code of Ethics was unacceptable. It is now July.
Something about this investigation isn't adding up.
Now that we have the Code of Ethics and what its purpose was for, let's talk about the notice that went out to all of you on an official HOA channel for communication, Town Square. This went out hours before the meeting, and only one officer, the one who created and signed the Code of Ethics as is, sent it to all of you. Number 15 here, where it says, individual board members and committee members may not speak on behalf of the association without prior approval from the board of directors, and by their signature below recognize their individual lack of authority when dealing with the association's management company, contractors, vendors, associate members, and general public. You've signed this agreement that you created for the board? So the email blast that went out on official HOA communications before the last meeting without any signature that didn't come from Goodwin?
It was coming from me.
From you,
Yeah,
Vanessa?
it was just coming from me.
This makes me wonder what the homeowners demanding consequences for violating the code of ethics would like the board to do about the officer, or is this a small group only worried about my code of ethics?
And
What we
that's
would
what we want.
ultimately
We want
have
some
to make
accountability to the
and
board,
edit to.
for the board, for doing, for things that
Okay.
appear to be a violation of those, the codes, there are about 23, 24 codes, and we're seeing very direct violations to
Yeah.
what's in there. And if there's no accountability, if a board member violates one of the codes of ethics, it should be something that he's held accountable for.
You're saying the quiet part out loud, I think.
We spend so much HOA and Goodwin resources dealing with this small group of folks who I sincerely hope are just being misinformed and are bringing up the code of ethics insidiously. A rather odd thing when those few homeowners bring up the code of ethics is the following.
Okay, I would like to ask that she is asking a question, and for the record, everybody, I always have to say this and clarify it because people think I have some type of cahoots with Valerie, and I do not. I did not know Valerie was going to be online tonight. I did not know her questions she was going to ask. This is Valerie. So, all right, thank you. I do want to say one thing to, and so that the board members are clear here. Do you know me, Vanessa?
I've never met you. Have you
Okay.
met me? I mean, I don't know.
I just wanted to make that clear because sometimes I'm accused of putting people together and having them to call the board about things that they don't like and or that they see as being um uh not uh not viable and not for our community. So I just wanted to make sure that the people on this call know that I had no preconceived meeting of these people who are coming before us on our homeowner forum.
Why are you acting weird?
I'm not acting weird.
Next, there was a concern brought up about my choice words when describing what has been going on. I hope I have cultivated trust with those of you who have been here for a while. I would like to think that y'all come back because the things I share here are considered to be accurate and true. I trust that we're all adults and can handle tough language when describing wild situations. And if you have watched any of the coverage on the previous board, you know the current one, thanks to 2 people, has been getting crazy with it. One specific thing brought up was the following.
So it says right there, the president kind of had a little breakdown. It seems that you're implying that our president engages in unstable, mentally ill behavior.
Now, I may be out of pocket here, but I'll let you see this exchange and decide for yourselves.
The problem here is that in these situations, you're not providing the information that you've had for 3 months to these homeowners. You keep misdirecting them, telling them you don't know. They're asking for plant lists that you've had since December.
Okay, 13. You know what that means? If you're going to be in a public meeting and demean me, this meeting is over. I'm closing it.
Well, then
We're not
drop off.
doing that.
We'll continue the meeting
No,
without you.
you will be put in, you're going to be put into the waiting room because we're not going to have that. We're not going to have that. We're not going to do that. We're trying to find a solution here. We're not doing that. And I am very over people, you misrepresenting what is going on here. Those people were never given that information.
And why weren't they given that information? Because you had it.
I don't know, Anthony, it's your
Oh, and
project.
then I
Why
even
didn't
sent
you
it
give
to
it
them
to them?
after that meeting. Curious. How does that happen, Vanessa?
Anthony, you did not send that to anyone. You did not. Okay, so
It's
the
posted
solution
on
is
Town Square. It's posted on the YouTube channel. It's posted on the Facebook of the community. You're
people did
lying
not
again.
get all of
Please
your
stop
social
lying
media.
to our homeowners.
You are the one that is lying to the homeowners. I'm sorry. Those people came to you today and said that. They didn't understand what's
Do you need
going
me
on.
to show you the email
Everybody's
read
not on
receipts from
this
those
board.
people? Because they've got it.
Okay, like I said, if you are going to badger and disrespect me on this meeting call, then the meeting will be over. That's
You keep
not
giving
going to happen.
misinformation to our homeowners. I'm going to correct it.
You are not going to be
Don't
allowed to do that, Anthony.
misinform them. They have
You
that
do it
information
every
and you've
time.
had it.
You signed a code of ethics. You don't care. You continue to do it and stop it. If you don't stop it, then I'm calling the meeting. I'm calling it. Because we have
Your board
homeowners
is
on
in
the line.
disarray because
We
you
have
are a poor
homeowners
leader as a
on the line,
president.
and you still don't
You
care.
almost had
You
half
still
of
don't
this
care.
board quit
Okay,
because of your leadership.
Ian, I'm calling the meeting.
Let her drop.
No, we're not dropping. I'm closing the meeting because you're not going to do this.
You're
And
not
you're
the
not going to
host,
do.
and you're not the majority of the board, no matter how many times you think you are.
Oh my, Ian.
The procedure is a motion to adjourn or a motion to
This is
postpone.
ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You would act this way in front of homeowners. It's ridiculous. It's never going to end. You're going to always do this. You've done it to Valerie. You badgered her off of this board. Now you're trying to do it to me.
How is that me getting her off the board?
I'm not saying that.
That's you.
No. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying it was you that got her off. And it's unfair and it's not right. I move for the meeting to be closed, or Anthony to be put in the waiting room so that we can continue the meeting. Because this is not getting anywhere. Vinny, are you going to finish your financials or no? Call for the vote for the financials so that we can close this meeting down.
Okay, if there's no more questions for the financials, I move for the financials to be approved for January and February.
Anthony will second that
Is there a
motion.
second?
There's a motion and a second.
Vinny, that's my job.
Okay, you can do it.
Well, no, it's how the Robert's Rules of Order work.
As a president, you're supposed to lead the meetings. Due to Robert's Rules of Order, the president is the only one that should be coordinated.
We do not follow Robert Rules of Order, and I have given you all that, Tony.
From the very beginning, you quoted certain parts of Robert's Rules of Orders during meetings and during.
But we don't follow them. We don't. It's no offense to you, but it's just how the Robert. I call for the motion. Someone seconds it, and then I call for the vote. So now we're calling for. There's been a motion and a second to approve the January and February minutes. I mean financial statements, with all the discussion that we've had. So we're calling for the vote to approve. All those in favor, aye.
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 Did you see that? Did you see it? Did you see what? Wow.
This next thing I mentioned in the last video I made, but I want to cover it one more time.
Like, for example, the other day, there was a question about when is the pool opening? And then Mr. Murray put on there a very nice answer. And then another resident replied and said, thank you. I'll have my kids out next week at the pool. And then the next thing that comes up, Mr. Maine posts a innuendo and meme picture of this woman drinking a beer talking about now you're gonna jinx it, and I don't understand that behavior. I just like, oh my gosh.
As you can read, we are having fun making a joke, and this is a normal thing for folks to do. But something that caught my ear was the mention that they were able to see all of my posts and then they were gone.
Videos on YouTube and more posts on Nextdoor, but we were just sitting here, and all of a sudden, all Mr. Maine's posts have disappeared.
Now, they had initially mentioned a couple of social media platforms. All of my posts are still there. I'm a person who puts his 2 feet on things when he says them. But maybe you all can see something here that may have slipped by. I say this again because all of my posts are there on Nextdoor, Facebook, and YouTube. The only thing that happened prior to this meeting, where this was brought up by these homeowners that weren't Valerie or Vanessa, is this.
Shit. Got your ass.
I hope that this helps shed some light on what has been going on and give context to Vanessa's email blast to the community on Town Square, Valerie's abundant posts on Nextdoor, and the June HOA meeting that went on for 2 hours with 30 homeowners on and only got to 3 to 4ish to talk. And those that did, well, you heard most of their points. Let's talk the green wall.
Oh no, please God, no.
This project has been done for a couple of months now. And the video at the end of this one, again, goes into more depth on it. But for anyone following, you may have noticed it gets brought up a lot by Valerie and Vanessa, who both, if you listen to the last video with their recording of them repeating the cost and voting yes, approved it. This is a massive one-time investment in the community. It is along a thoroughfare that many people use to walk, bike, and get from their neighborhoods to Harris Branch Parkway. Here is the reason why the board went forward with this project after the survey sent to the community stated they wanted more walking trails. And homeowners came to the meeting wanting the HOA to address the fences along St. Marin and Farmhaven.
But consider the alternative to this green wall project, because your goal was to take over homeowners' fences or fine homeowners' fences into getting them compliant.
Mm-hmm.
And you just saw how expensive it is to maintain fences.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Well, it's way cheaper to maintain green walls. And that's why you and I agreed on this project. And it could have been done 2 weeks ago. And here we are.
Y'all, I'm tired. And I'm sure you are too. I hope this helped to show some through lines that aren't just me doing he said, she said, and instead sharing exactly what was said. But I think I'm going to hand it off to this homeowner who summarized the email blast from the current president, Vanessa Silas, and constant digital mob agitation on Nextdoor by Valerie Deo to the community in one of the biggest investments this community has had since its creation.
Yeah, he left because he's been sitting for 2 hours while we talk about one or two issues. Are you still on?
Yeah, I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just kind of interesting. I want to take a point where you guys were commenting on how Town Square is the formal forum and Nextdoor is an inappropriate place to be communicating ideas. And, I have issues with that statement in of itself. But the reason I hadn't intended to join this meeting today, but I got a notification in my email from Town Square, which appeared to me as a formal communique from the board. And what I read was like a tirade, talking about how this green wall project was, misrepresented and, like it came from the wrong budget allocation pool. It wasn't signed. I assumed that it came from the president, but I had no way of knowing that. I had to make that assumption.
The board was unaware of
I just
this.
wanted to say that, as a homeowner who is not overly involved in these meetings, I look at Nextdoor, and my perception is that this is kindergarten I'm looking at, and if I understand that there are certain people who are on the board and were previously on the board who take issue with the manner in which the funds for this green wall project were allocated. I live in, I don't see this pretty little rock native garden, whatever. It's great. I don't care, but I'm tired of hearing about it. And if you guys are saying that these funds weren't properly allocated, yet you voted for them, then I can only conclude that there are two scenarios there. That is either you were, incapable of understanding what you were voting for, or it was just a dereliction of duty and you didn't bother to look. But either way, to come back and retroactively spend all this bandwidth complaining about something that, again, does not benefit me. I don't live in that neighborhood. I've driven by it. It's pretty. It's whatever. 300 grand, native plants, sure. Whatever. That's wonderful. But this is not a good use of time. And it doesn't make anyone complaining about it after the fact look competent.